Marc Raimondi back with ESPN, and I am joined today by UFC welterweight. You know what? UFC welterweight contender,
I do.
Belal Muhammad. This is a man who has won his last 4 fights. He's won 8 of 9. He's looking very, very good in that 170-pound UFC division. Belal Muhammad, how are you, my friend?
Good, man. That was a good intro right there. I like that. I'm glad that you're starting to notice, man. I'm glad people are starting to take notice that I'm a contender and just not one of the guys, another guy on the list.
Was that a remember the show quality intro that I gave you? Of course, you have your own show.
That was a good one, man. If you see Jason Hannick on there, Jason Hannick goes hard when he does his intros. When he have our guests, I'm like, man, he be killing it. But that was a good one. That matched up.
In fact, I was actually auditioning for Remember the Show with that intro. So hopefully, one of these days, one of these weeks, you have me on, in some form.
That'll be fun for sure.
But anyway, this is not about me. This is an interview about you, and I wanted to ask you, congrats on the big win, of course, from a few days ago at UFC 258 against Dhiego Lima. Dominant performance, really well done. I feel like you felt pretty good in there, and I know that your training camp has kind of bounced around a little bit, but it seems like you're in a pretty good place right now, right?
Yeah. I feel like I'm improving every fight. I'm getting better every fight. I feel like a couple of the things that I added to my game are really showing in the fight, and yeah, I'm liking it now. Like my whole camp this time was in Chicago, and it feels good. I'm learning new little tricks and just different footwork and striking drills from these guys. And we got a room full of killers down here, and it's I love what I'm getting right now.
You did this camp with Mike Valley, and I believe, was it Israel Martinez as well in Chicago?
I train with him a couple times, but I haven't he's not considered a part of the camp. I do it with Mike Valley, Lewis Taylor, down there at Chicago Fight Team, and then a big guy with my boxing is Horacio Gutierrez. He was the finalist on the Tough Latin America too. Right. Yeah, he was on there too. So, but he's been helping my boxing a lot, and we've been working on my hands a lot, and I feel like it paid dividends.
Of course, PFL champ Lewis Taylor, right? Put the guns down. Your old high school wrestling coach, right, Lewis Taylor?
Yeah. We've been together for freaking 15 years. Yeah, he's been with me since the beginning. We're going down to the end.
That's wild. And now, like I mentioned at the top, you've won 8 of 9, and we're talking about one of the best divisions in the UFC, welterweight division. You're on a heck of a run right now. Is it time for a contender fight? I mean, what is next? I mean, what do you see in the future? Because it seems like, with your resume you put together, it seems like the time is now for, kind of an up in competition level.
Yeah, man, but it's like one of those where a lot of people tell me, oh, you need to fight somebody better. You need to fight somebody, but I'm like, I literally been calling everybody out. Like literally I've been calling these guys out. After every one of my fights, I'm calling somebody out. I was literally like one of the first guys to be calling out Kobe Covington before he was in title contention, like where he is now. Like I'm sitting there trying to call out the top guys, but they just don't give it to me. Like I called out Ponzinibbio after my last fight, and then before that I called out Li Jingliang before that fight, and they gave them both each other. So with this one, I wasn't even aiming high. I literally called up right above me at number 12, and then people are like, "You got to call out higher than that." I'm like, bro, just let me get a ranked fighter. I don't care who it is. I just want to fight a ranked fighter. I just want somebody with a number next to their name. And now that I have a number next to my name, I'm hoping it'll be easier to get a bigger name. But like I said, you never know with these guys. Everybody nowadays is injured. They have the COVID excuse. They have the I don't want to fight below me excuse. There's a lot of excuses for guys in this fight game now where they all have these little lines that they're using. But man, for me, I just want to be more active this year anyway. I just want to stay active and stay fighting.
So like you mentioned, you called out Li Jingliang, the Leech, and no one calls out that guy because he's obviously very good, but he doesn't have a high ranking. So I don't think I've heard anyone ever call out Li Jingliang, but you did. Why him?
Literally just because I was at number 12, and then after he knocked out Ponzinibbio, they moved him to number 12, and they put me at 13. I'm like, how the heck did they move me down? I didn't even fight, but literally just because he's right above me, I was sitting there like. A lot of guys, they waste their call outs. I feel like a lot of guys will sit there, they'll call out Nate Diaz or they'll call out Masvidal, and I'm like, bro, you're not gonna get that fight. Like Leon Edwards, you're fighting March 13th, and you're saying, oh, let me get Kobe Covington or Masvidal. I'm like, they're not gonna take that fight, especially a short notice fight. So why are you wasting your time calling for that fight? And then especially like being on ESPN, you have the mic in your hand. Like I don't want to waste the call out. Like everybody's paying attention to who you're gonna ask for. So it's like if I call out Nate Diaz, then you're gonna get all them freaking loser trolls that who the F is this guy? And it's like Nate Diaz is not gonna accept that fight. I know that he's not gonna accept that fight. So it's like, why would I waste my call out with that one? The Leech, yo, you're right above me. The fight makes sense. Like it's an easy matchmaker fight for Sean Selby. Boom, boom, 12-13. Why not? Like there's no reason why it wouldn't make sense. And there's no reason for him to say no. So like I wanted to call out a guy that I knew there was no reason for him to say no. He can't say, oh, this guy's a lot below me. I want to fight a lot higher than myself, because this last guy he fought was unranked. So just him fighting a ranked fighter right now makes sense. And he lost to Magny, who's like number 9. So like he has to be somewhere in that little middle range.
So you went with the realistic call out of the Leech. And I'm glad you brought this up, because I'm actually interested that you kind of broke down a little bit of the makings of a call out. What is the strategy? Like, do you not want to shoot too high? Do you want to kind of shoot somewhere that is the most realistic? Because like you said, some people do call out Conor McGregor, even though they're like at the bottom of the card, they're in the prelim. So what, like when you win a fight, do you already have like what you're going to say already ready? Or, I mean, how does that play out?
Yeah, for me, I look at it as in, like, do I really want that fight? A lot of guys will talk about it, but they're not going to really walk the walk. Like they'll sit there and be like, a lot of guys are afraid to call out guys that are realistic. So they'll sit there and throw out that call out like a McGregor or somebody to act like they're tough, but they know they're really not going to get that fight. So to me, it's like you just wasted that call out because you want to act like you're a tough guy. Like, oh, I'll fight this guy. He's if I call out Usman, like, yeah, let me get the winner of Usman and Burns. Like, I'll seem tough, like, oh, he wants to fight for the title next, but I know that they're not going to give me that fight next. So I know that I have to make my little climb up. So it's like, for me, I'm going to call out a guy that I could actually fight. So like, and I don't have to do it in like an ignorant way where like I have to call him out and make in front of him or something like that. It was just like yo, hey, you want to fight? Like the coolest thing was when I was sitting there looking for a fight before, and then Bobby Green slid in my DMs, and Bobby Green's like, yo, I'm looking for a fight. Let's fight. And I was like, all right, cool. And he's like, all right, cool. Hit up your manager. And I was like, all right, cool. And I posted that message on our like conversation on Instagram. This is like 3 fights ago. And then I was like, and then Anthony Rumble Johnson messaged me like, man, that's some real stuff. You two right there. You ain't got to talk trash talk. And I'm like, yeah, it was like the realest thing. It was like, yo, you want to fight? Yeah, I'm down. Like, just we're fighters. So like, we want to make money. So like, yeah, I'm down. You're down. Let's do it. Let's hit up my manager. And then like, I met him in person. It was like funniest thing. We never got that fight, but he's like, hey, let me see what I was getting myself into. Let me see how your reach is. And he's like, let's put our hands next to each other and see who's longer. Bobby Green. And it was like hilarious. But I was like, just like that. Like, it's a sport. So it's like basketball. Like, yo, I got next.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to ask you also about, you mentioned Nate Diaz a few minutes ago, and I've seen you talk here and there about Nate Diaz. And it seems like you're not a huge fan of Nate Diaz. I know that he has like a cult following in the sport, but you're not really a big fan of this guy.
No, I mean, it's not that I'm not a fan of him. Like, obviously, the guy built himself up, and he's been in the game for a while, and obviously, he has, like you said, he has a cult following. But it's like, literally, he's one of those guys that just tweets just to tweet. Like, are you gonna fight? Like, you hold up divisions just by like acting like you're something, and then just the way that he trash talks now, where it's like, I ain't never lost to nobody. I ain't got no loss to America. All these guys got losses, and I'm like, it's like a Nate Diaz thing to say. It's funny, but it's like, bro, like, relax. Like, obviously, everybody wants that fight just because it's a big money fight, but talent wise, he's not there. Like, he's not gonna be a champion or anything like that. Obviously, if they ever offer me that fight, I'm gonna take that fight just because it's a big money fight. And I like watching his fights. He's an exciting fighter, just his style and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just get annoyed by these guys that they're retired and then they'll sit there and go on Twitter and be like, "This guy sucks. This guy's and all this other stuff." I don't know. That stuff that annoys me.
No, I totally get where you're coming from. Nate is a really interesting guy to me because I don't want to say that he reminds me of, like, you guys kind of remind me of each other, but let me explain what I mean. So he's a guy that he wasn't really a big star when he was coming up. He was kind of in the shadow of his brother, right? He was in the shadow of Nick. Always an exciting fighter. Talk crap, but never really was a big. Even Dana said one time he didn't move the needle all that much. He wasn't really a big star. And then he got that Conor fight, and he went from being kind of like a cult favorite to being one of the most popular fighters in the UFC. And so I guess my question is, like, for someone like you, you check all the boxes. You're an entertaining guy. You have your own show. You're an entertaining fighter. Your fights are always good. How do you make that leap to become a guy who the fans like, to being someone that the casual fans want to pay to watch? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, like you said, it just takes that one fight where it's like that one fight that clicks, and all of a sudden everything changes. Even for Masvidal, Masvidal was one of those guys that was always good. He was like one of my top fighters I used to watch, but like nobody really knew who he was, and nobody cared who he was. And then bam, he knocks out Ben Askren, and boom, he's like one of the biggest stars in the UFC. And even now, where I saw like a stat where Masvidal has one win over a ranked guy in the welterweight division right now, only one win, but he's fighting for the title because he's a needle mover, obviously. And it took him long in his career to blow up, but it just, all it takes is that one performance where like something clicks and everybody wants to watch you. And I just got to wait for that one fight. This fight right here, I got enough eyes on me where a lot of people are like, oh, put him on the pay-per-view, put him on the pay-per-view. And I'm like, no, I'd rather be on ESPN because there's going to be a lot more eyes on there and a lot more people watching. And I even got like a tweet from that singer, I forgot what his name was, but like everybody was like, oh my God, this guy got 30 million followers and he's tweeting about you. And, just like little things like that will start triggering and putting people on you. I gained like 10,000, 12,000 followers just off that fight. So it's like, it's slowly progressing. But now all I need is that one performance, that one fight where even if it's a fighter that talks trash, to me, I don't take anything personally. So like, I want to fight a guy that's going to talk and just make it more exciting outside of the cage, where we have little Twitter talks and stuff like that. Because that's going to get people wanting to watch you more. And I can hold my own with anybody with trash talk. So it'd just be funner. But like, it's not one of those where I'm going to force it, where it's like, Dhiego Lima is a super nice guy, so I don't need to sit there and trash talk him and be fake and be like, oh, I'm going to kill you and all this other stuff, because it wouldn't be legit. To me, I want to fight that guy that's where everybody calls out Mike Perry or something like that, because that the antics outside of the cage are going to be more attention to bring the viewers inside the cage.
And then that was Zayn Malik who shouted.
Oh yeah, him, right? Yeah.
He's pretty famous.
I was sitting there doing an interview with Megan O'Leary, and she's like, Zayn Malik tweeted about you. And I was like, I didn't know who it was at first. And I was like, oh, no way. She's like, yeah, Joe B messaged me. I said, dang, that's awesome. And then I'm like, man, who's that? And then I look at my phone, and my like sister messaged me the picture message of it. It's like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, all right, cool.
I saw you had a funny tweet. I think it was yesterday. A lot of people noticed that on Saturday while you were fighting, you were pulling up your shorts in the middle of the fight. It was kind of like almost like a nervous tick. So you explained that on Twitter. So what is the deal with the shorts falling off situation?
It's kind of like a Chicago thing, man. Like when I play basketball all the time in Chicago, and then we get in fights all the time. But it's like you always pull up your shorts when you're about to fight. Like it's literally like that. That when I'm training in Chicago, I get made fun of all the time by my teammates because I always wear big basketball shirts. I like baggy shorts when I train. I like my shorts down to my knees when I train. And then when I'm sparring or whatever like that, I always like just pull them up. I always have to pull them up. But like these shorts are like small, so they're not like baggy or anything like that. But like you said, it's just like a nervous tick. Not like a nervous tick, just like a one of those things where I just do it all the time. And now I got to stop doing it, because now you start paying attention and you're like, dang, I didn't even realize I was doing it that much, because everybody's like messaging me like, bro, your shorts were annoying as hell. And I rewatched it. I'm like, dang, I was doing it a lot.
One of the big storylines coming out of UFC 258 on Saturday was, where does Kamaru Usman go next? That's obviously your division. So if you were in charge, if you were Sean Shelby McMaynard, how do you book that welterweight division at the top? Like, who does Usman fight? How do you Leon Edwards hasn't gotten a fight in so long. How do you book that top of the division?
Yeah, for me, I mean, what makes the most sense to me is like a Wonder Boy. I think Wonder Boy, he's on a good run right now. He had a big win against Jeff Neal, and he's really only lost to like the top guys. So like for me, I want to see that fight because I want to see that style, and I feel like he's the hardest style to fight in the welterweight division right now, just because his weird striking and his takedown defense is getting a lot better. But I want to see that fight. Obviously, if I'm Usman, I want the Masvidal fight. That's the big money fight. That's the one that's going to sell the most pay-per-views. But like, obviously, the UFC will probably book that one more than anything, just because Wonder Boy still, even though like people love him and stuff like that, it's not going to sell the big pay-per-view with him and Usman. And he's like a dangerous fighter for Usman. So like, I think that's what's going to end up being. I think it's going to be Masvidal. But to me, I'd rather see Wonder Boy. I think Leon Edwards still needs another win. He's been out for like 2 years, and the last guy he beat is a lightweight now. So I feel like he needs to get a couple wins in there, or even for himself. Like I wouldn't even want to go to Usman until I get another win, just to get acclimated into the cage again and get fresh, get that ring time again. Because ring rust is a thing, and I think it matters. And to me, I feel like that was one of the factors that played a role in Gilbert Burns, where I felt like he was so active on a roll, and then that's when he was at his best, when he was back to back short notice fights, and then he had to take a while off for this one, and like he gassed out a little bit in that first round, and I feel like that was a big factor in it too, just that time off and not even competing. I don't think he was able to do jiu-jitsu matches where the guy was sitting there. You saw him fighting Maya, then he fought Gunnar Nelson, then he fought this guy, then he was doing a jiu-jitsu match, and I was like, he was active, and that competition activity that plays a huge role in the way you fight.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you one last thing, actually several last things. I don't know if people know this, but you're very talented at picking fights. So I want to pick Belal Muhammad's brain on this upcoming pay-per-view in a few weeks here, UFC 259. Of course, the headliner is a double title fight. Israel Adesanya trying to become the light heavyweight champion against the current champ, Jan Blachowicz. How do you see that fight going?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people are underestimating Jan, but man, Adesanya's striking is just next level. I don't think the weight difference is going to be that big a deal. I don't think he needs to pull like John Jones. He's going up to heavyweight. He's going against like huge guys, so I feel like he has to put that extra muscle on. I don't think Adesanya does. I think that his precision and his accuracy and his speed is going to be enough to get him through to this fight. I don't know if it's going to be that one punch knockout power, but I feel like volume wise, he's going to be able to pick apart Jan from the outside. I mean, Jan just really needs one punch with that Polish power, but I feel like Adesanya is too smart, and he's like, after that last fight against
Costa,
Costa, like how good he was and like how smart he was. It just shows me that his striking mentality and his levels on a whole nother level.
So you like Adesanya in that fight?
Yeah, I like Adesanya.
How about Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson for the UFC women's featherweight title?
I mean, Amanda Nunes is GOAT. She's next level. I feel like she's gonna be smarter with it. I feel like she's gonna take Megan down, like we saw Holly Holmes do against her. Amanda's been fighting smarter lately, and I feel like she's gonna do that. She's gonna take her down and beat her with a grappling, I think.
Submission?
I feel like it could be a submission. I feel like it'll end up being a submission, probably like in the third round. I think she'll get a finish.
And how about I'm looking forward to this fight a lot. The bantamweight title fight between Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling.
Man, that's the one I'm looking forward to a lot, man. People are still underestimating Aljo a lot, and then I feel like they underestimated striking a lot too. And like against Pedro Munoz, he stood up with him the whole time, and he looked good doing it. Like he's so good with his kicks and his front kicks and his push kicks, keeping that distance. But like, I've been talking to a lot of guys that train in Vegas, and they were like, man, he's on another level. He looks good right now. He looks amazing. I feel like what he did to Sandhagen, it showed me that his grappling's at another level than a lot of these guys. Because Sandhagen is one of those dudes where he's a killer. He's a monster. I think he's going to end up being champion sooner rather than later. But I just feel like the way that Aljo manhandled him on the ground, it just shows that there's levels to it. And that Peter Yan, his only loss outside of the UFC was to like a grappler, the guy that could take him down. And now Aljo's training with that guy. So I think Aljo's going to end up taking this one.
Decision?
Yeah, I think it ends up being a decision.
Very good. I like it. Good stuff, man. Got to get you on that on the analyst desk for one of these. Yeah,
fights. I'm waiting for that call. None of these guys want to give me a call, but whatever.
You got a suit ready?
Yeah, I got man, it's crazy because I had a guy from Vegas message me, and he's like, yeah, I had the suit. He had a suit store, and he's like, come in, I'll get you a brand new suit. I'll get you fitted and everything. But we were like on quarantine, so we couldn't even go to the strip. And I was like, come on, bro. Let me go get a free suit. But yeah, I'm thinking about just flying to Vegas just for a suit right now.
Maybe next time. Hopefully, maybe when the snow stops in Chicago, you can head back.
Man, for sure.
Well, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you get the fights you want next, and best wishes in the future, man.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, Belal.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.